Welcome to our online workshop entitled Managing Your Money. Today's workshop is sponsored by HSBC Bank, as the world's local bank, and also Center for Neighborhood Enterprise, also the Village Ministries. Today, before we begin, managing your money is going to cover three subject matters. 1, net worth. 2, cash flow. 3, creating a budget. Before we begin, this content is provided as educational material only. It is not intended to solicit you for any product or service. These materials are not a recommendation by HSBC for any product, service, or financial strategy. The suggestions and recommendations contained within are general in nature and may or not apply to your particular circumstances. Securities, annuities, and insurance products are not FDIC insured or insured by any federal government agency of the United States. They are subject to investment risk, including possible loss of principal invested. All decisions regarding the tax implications of your investments should be made in connection with your independent tax advisor. Should you need further assistance, HSBC strongly recommends contacting an independent attorney, tax professional, or financial consultant. Let's get started. Our goals for today are simple. Today we will answer common questions about money management. Number 1, what is a budget? Number 2, how do you create a budget? Number 3, how do you determine your cash flow? And number 4, how do you determine your net worth? Number 1, what is a budget? First of all, on your screen you have a picture of a budget with a mortgage, food, car, credit card, loan, utilities, cable, entertainment. A total cost of $2,400. That's the month plan. Now we plan the budget, but then you also see what you spend. So a budget is a plan for spending and saving, a tool for managing money for today and the future. It can be a detailed plan for everything financial in your life. It can be a plan for major expenses and purchases, but also it can be a way to track your spending, expenses, and savings. What does budgeting mean? It does not mean creating a strict, inflexible plan or following rules. It does not mean denying yourself fun things, but it does mean making conscious, smart decisions, establishing a plan that works for you. That way, you have these advantages. You help to manage spending and expenses. You help reduce or eliminate debt, and it's a way to increase your future assets. First of all, introducing Thomas. We always say in our workshops that Thomas is a fictitious character. In this workshop, you will have activities so you can practice the new skills that you're learning. We'll be learning about and analyzing cash flow, net worth, and a simple budget for Thomas. Thomas works for you. Thomas has the same expenses as you, and Thomas has a family. They live an active lifestyle. But right now, Thomas rents an apartment, but his goal is to become a homeowner. As we say oftentimes in our workshop, Thomas is a fictitious character, but if you want to make this workshop work for you, put your name in the blank. What is cash flow? How do you calculate it? Well, number 1, cash flow is the relationship between what you earn and what you spend. It is a snapshot of your financial position. Therefore, you write down all your expenses for the month. Include small expenses such as newspapers, taxi. We oftentimes say Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, convenience stores. Write down all income from the month. Include reliable income from all sources, even your tips, your child support, your alimony, your board income, and your bonuses. We have an activity sheet that shares with you determining cash flow, and I really recommend that you look at that activity sheet, and it'll break down your monthly income. It also break down your expenses. A great activity to go through. How is cash flow analyzed? If your expenses are higher than your income, you have a negative cash flow. This means that you are in debt. It also means that there were unexpected expenses. But if your income is higher than your expenses, you have a positive cash flow. You're probably able to pay your bills on time, and you probably can save for the future. What is net worth? Net worth is the value of your assets, which is anything of value that you own, minus or less your liabilities, things that you owe, or your debts. Your net worth is a detailed picture of your finances. So therefore, assets minus liabilities equals your net worth. And see, the picture really breaks it down. You have a car, you have a house, your IRA, your 401k, mutual funds, you have some cash in the bank, you have some jewelry. And you subtract the things that you owe, your IOUs, your debts, your credits. And whatever you have left is your net worth. What are your assets? Your assets are simply your cash, your bank accounts, your cash streams from annuities, investment assets such as rental properties, savings bonds, mutual funds, your cash surrender value of a life insurance policy, what it is worth if you were to cash it in today, your personal property such as your jewelry, your furniture, or your automobile, your retirement accounts such as your 401k, your 403b, your IRA, your pension, your real estate, your house, or even the land that you own. All of those are assets. What are your liabilities? Short-term debts to be repaid within 3 years. Credit card balances, personal loans, income and property taxes, or your insurance. But your long-term debts are typically to be repaid in terms of over 3 years. These are items such as your mortgage on your home or your home equity loan, your student loans, your automobile loans, alimony, or legal judgments. So how do you determine your net worth? First of all, you list all your assets. Second of all, you list your liabilities, and then you subtract your liabilities from your assets. We have a worksheet entitled Determining Net Worth, and in this worksheet, it kind of breaks down the categories of your assets and then the categories of your liabilities, and you subtract your liabilities from your assets, and that determines your net worth. Great worksheet. So how can you increase your net worth? Number one, in big letters, it says, pay yourself first. We ask that you set aside money now. That's the best way to reach goals in the future. We ask that you aim for 10% of your income. So if you make $2,000 a month, see if you can try $200 a month, and then also pay down your debt. How can you increase your net worth? Save as much as you can, and then we ask that you start as soon as you can. Salary increase, bonus, money you get from a paid debt, unexpected income, tax returns. Even a portion of unexpected income is worthwhile to save. Reward yourself for meeting goals and take advantage of compounding. We often say if you get a bonus on your job, don't spend the bonus, save the bonus. If you get a salary increase, continue to live on the salary that you had before and save the increase. Look for ways of saving $50 a month. And this slide is very special because it talks about compounding interest. You see, if you take $50 a month, this slide breaks it down and how at 0% interest, $50 a month is $600 a year. But if you skip down and say I do it at 9% interest, you get $630 a year. But then if you say I'm saving $50 a month for 20 years at 0%, that's $12,000. But $50 a month for 20 years at 9% is $33,000, 645. And so this slide really breaks down what $50 can do in a compounding interest account. And so we really want your money to grow. So what can you do with a budget? Well, you use it as a plan on how you're going to spend and save money. You allocate or decide on a certain amount of money for each category of expense. Track your spending. Find opportunities to eliminate expenses. Include irregular expenses such as quarterly water bills or annual property taxes. And then also always keep it flexible. A sample budget. Well, decide on $500 a month for food. Then track the amount that you actually spend. Now, when we say $500 a month, we're saying at the grocery store, at restaurants, morning coffee, or any snacks. Then analyze how you're doing. How do you create a budget? Base it on the history of spending. Use past receipts, credit card bills, and your checkbook register. Start tracking your spending now for 2 months. Write down everything you spend, including regular expenses that you have each day, each week, and every month, or irregular expenses that occur less frequently, such as property insurance, homeowners or renters insurance, school registration or tuition payments, prescriptions, and insurance premiums. Remember to include all incidental expenses like newspapers, magazine, chewing gum, coffee, vending machine snacks, donations, or soft drinks, etc. You need to have categories in your budget. Number one, fixed. These are things on your budget that don't vary from payment to payment. Mortgage payments, car loan payments, insurance premiums. These are fixed every month. But then you have non-fixed. These are things that can vary from payment to payment, such as your grocery bill, utility bill, cable television, or even transportation expenses. And so we also have a worksheet that can break those items down for your budget categories. It's entitled Budget Categories, Fixed and Non-Fixed. Worksheet number 2, page 1. Your budget categories also are essential or desirable. Essential are simply things that you need. These are things that are impossible to do without, such as your food, your rent, or your utilities. But then there's some things that are desirable, things that you want. These are possible to do without or to cut back expending. Listen, entertainment, travel, clothing, or fast food. And as you see on the picture below, you see the essential versus desirable expenses. The essential is food. Desirable are the lovely shoes or the tennis shoes that we all want, but we don't need. How do you create a budget? First of all, look at your past spending patterns. Fill in any fixed expenses, add your own category, and then take the budget home with you and work some more. And so we have a worksheet. It's worksheet number 2, page 2 of 3. And it has the desired budget amounts. And that worksheet will be a great activity for you to do at home. How can you reconsider your budget? Well, once you've allocated your money to different categories, look for places to cut back. If one of your areas takes up a large part of your budget, think about ways to reduce or modify spending in this category. Your budget needs to fit your needs, and it must be flexible. Work on your budget so it fits in with your financial goals. What about an emergency or a rainy day fund? You save money to pay for emergency expenses. You will need to pay for your expenses if you are temporarily unemployed or you become ill. You need to build an emergency fund. Should be included in your budget. It should eventually cover, your goal is, 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. And you don't have to create it all at once, but it should be a savings priority. Simply this, if your expenses are $2,000 a month, 3 times 2 is $6,000, should be in savings. Or if you have 6 months, 6 times 2 is $12,000. So your goal is simply to have $6,000 or $12,000 or whatever your monthly expense is times 3 times 6. Why is an emergency or rainy day fund important? Well, number one, it helps you to stay within your budget. You have an amount set aside to cover small, unexpected expenses. It also helps you keep yourself on the path to saving. This fund doesn't need to be very large. First of all, aim for $1,000 or $1,500 in your fund. You may be able to avoid more expensive options such as cash advances, payday loans, or even credit cards in some instances. And the reason why we say that is because when you have a payday loan or cash advance or credit card advance, they charge you fees which take away your money. Tips for saving money. Number one, be persistent. Stick with it. Go digital. Considering budgeting software. Keep your budget simple. Ask for help. Be accountable to somebody that helps you stay on your budgeting plan. And then also build a small reward for yourself. In closing, over the next few weeks, we ask that you use the worksheets, calculate your cash flow and net worth. Use your budgeting worksheets to create a budget and a spending plan. Identify 2 short-term and longer-term financial goals. And to remember to modify your plan on an ongoing basis to reach your financial goals. All of this information can be found in your Managing Your Money booklet that can also be found on your website, www.yourmoneycounts.com. Once again, it's been a pleasure with you on this online workshop, and we look forward to having you in future workshops in the future. Take care. God bless.